everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing another chit-chatty style video on my Divine Feminine Energy series, where I go over what Divine Feminine Energy is, how I feel society tears it down and disrespects it, why I believe it's the reason our world is in literal shambles, and some things I think we can do about it. So today's topic is going to be on how rape culture infiltrates our everyday lives. But before we jump in, I did want to give a little recap since it's been several months since I made one of these videos. So I just wanted to, refresh. I will include the timestamps in the description box below so that you can jump around if you'd like. But yes, the first video I made in the series was called The Tearing Down of the Divine Feminine Energy. And it was basically like an introduction, like an overview, where I went over the very basics of what masculine energy is, what feminine energy is, how masculine energy gets praised and valued and recognized and rewarded, while feminine energy just gets, again, belittled, invalidated, disrespected, because we live in a society that values and that appreciates masculine energy more. It deems it worthier and stronger and just, worthier of appreciation, where the divine feminine energy isn't really as respected or as valued, as acknowledged. So that's like mostly what that video touched on. It was like an overview, like an introductory video, where the second video that I made in the series hit more on gender disparities. I make it a point in my videos that I am not trying to highlight or focus on gender disparities, but because divine feminine energy is primarily physically represented by women, it's just another way that I can drive my point home, where the point that I am trying to make can be observed also just by looking at the way that women have been historically treated. It's another example of how that feminine energy gets disrespected and invalidated and, just isn't considered as fairly and as equally as the masculine energy is. So yeah, I make it a point that I'm not trying to highlight or focus on gender disparities, but it isn't something that I can just bypass altogether. I do feel it's important to mention and to bring up. So that's what that second video was about. It was more so about like the historical treatment that women have had to face and like the battles, we've had to fight just to be where we are today. And even still, things are not equal. Things are not 100% like even and fair. And I think a really important point that I touch on in that video is about women kind of abandoning their femininity to be more like the masculine energy, because they see that's what's validated and that's what's praised. So they try to embody those qualities as well to make it in life. And I'm not saying that that's like a bad thing in and of itself. I just feel that I don't know if that's the solution. Not when it comes to like female advancement in society, but just when it comes to my point that I'm trying to make about divine feminine energy and really protecting that energy and valuing this energy and allowing it to rise up. So then my third video was about the Middle East, the women of the Middle East who are still severely oppressed, unfortunately. And when I was recording these videos, news had just broke. It was like around August of last year of 2024. News had broke that there was like a new law being implemented, specifically in Afghanistan, where women's voices were no longer allowed to be heard in public. So women were not allowed to be heard reading or singing or anything in public because it is believed that their voices could be like temptation. So it was against the law to hear their voice publicly. And while I was recording that video, I was like, can it get any worse? Like, this is crazy. Now their voices can't even be heard in public. And lo and behold, it got worse. By October of last year, an updated law was revealed that said that no longer are they allowed to be heard in public, but now they're not even allowed to speak to each other, to speak to one another. So you can just imagine the room that it's making to abuse these women, to silence these women, to basically erase them out of society. And it is just insane and so sad that it's a reality, it's real, like it's something that's actually happening today in our world. And in that video, I did include ways to help in the description box. So if you guys are interested in that, check it out, because those girls definitely, they need our help. Whether it's just like a prayer, or if you can financially help by donating to any of those charities that I included in the description of that video, because they really could use it. They really need it. Something else I wanted to quickly bring up that I see some people say is, when women here in the Western world complain, or not really complain, but we're just standing up for ourselves and just trying to bring something to the surface, trying to highlight something about inequalities that still exist, and ways that women are still not respected and are still not like supported and are still invalidated, and people are like, oh please, you're not oppressed, look at the women in the Middle East, that's real oppression, you're not oppressed, girl, sit down. A message to y'all that believe that that's not cool, that's not okay. You shouldn't compare anything. Yes, they have it way worse, but it doesn't invalidate our experience here and ways that we are still oppressed here. Things are not 100% even, equal, and fair. So to try to invalidate that and, knock us down and trying to tell us to shut the hell up and have a seat and be content, that's not cool. Just because they have it way worse and they need so much more help and they haven't been able to progress how we have here in the Western world, it doesn't invalidate us. And that's exactly what divine feminine energy is. It's, connection, relationship, heart energy, understanding, being cooperative, being supportive, loving, considerate of someone else's needs and experience. But anyway, let's get started into today's topic, which is, again, how rape culture infiltrates our everyday lives. So we are going to be talking about micro ways that the rape culture affects us. So as we know, everything happens on a gradient scale, right? On a spectrum. A spectrum is used to classify something in terms of its position on a scale between two extreme or opposite points. So on this spectrum, the extreme would be rape. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about the less extreme cases, but that are still on the spectrum. So these are less extreme situations that I think are still influenced by rape culture. So when we talk about rape, it's mostly talking about consent. It means that consent was not given. So a micro way that I think this can affect our everyday lives is by lying, by not being upfront, straightforward, forthcoming, honest, by not having some kind of diplomacy, by not being fair and noble. Because when you don't have these things, when these things are not brought into the equation, then it doesn't allow consent to happen. If someone doesn't know the full truth about something, then consent simply cannot happen. In order for consent to happen, again, there needs to be honesty. You need to be straightforward. You need to be considerate. All things that come through divine feminine energy. Divine feminine energy, again, as a reminder, it has to do with relationship, with relating, with having a heart, with emotions and feelings and love and awareness, taking everything into consideration. It concerns itself with collaboration, with cooperation. It's peace, love, unity, relationships, receptivity. But remember, we live in a society that, whether subliminally or directly, it tears these qualities down. It doesn't regard these things as important, as special. And I know a lot of people say that they value these things and that these are their values, but unfortunately, most of the time, their actions do not match what they say. So some ways I think that we can see this in action is this glorification of, having rizz, or in my day, we used to call it having game, spitting G. It's like when you sweet talk someone, when you charm someone, when you tell them what it is that they want to hear in order to gain access of some kind, whether it's romantically or whether you're just trying to get in good with somebody because they have something that you want, or, you need to get that good word put in about you because you're trying to get some kind of position, you're trying to mooch. Is that the word? You're trying to get in good, because again, you're trying to get some kind of profit, some kind of gain. You're trying to maneuver your way in somehow. And this quality in our society today is glorified. It's praised. It's regarded as being something good. But again, it feeds into this idea that you have to lie that you have to like prey on something and strategize your way to get something, to get some kind of gain, which is focusing on being selfish and not considering the other person and not valuing honesty, but only focusing on yourself and what it is that you want to get out of the situation. Another way I think it shows up is through marketing and promoting products. Lying, again, for gains, for profits, making numbers, being like a competitor in the market. These are masculine qualities. Again, it's very strategic. It wants a certain outcome. It's like laser focused on that certain outcome. And I don't want to demonize masculine energy. I also make it a point in my videos, like, it's not that I'm demonizing masculine energy. Masculine energy is amazing. I'm just saying it's out of balance. And when it comes to relationships and love, it doesn't belong there. Like, it has no place in those areas. And because it takes over, it hijacks in those areas where it doesn't belong. This is why our world is the way that it is. Truly, I believe so. But yeah, as you know, everything, we live in a capitalistic society, and marketing and promoting products and like making you believe that you need something, or making false claims, being very misleading in what it is that the product or whatever it is that you're trying to sell is going to achieve for you, is going to do, is going to bring. You have all of these, celebrities or others that, a lot of people look up to. Like, we live in a world where like being an influencer is a big thing. I remember back in the day, I used to watch a lot of makeup videos, and I was so surprised to learn how much those people would make by like including a product in their video or talking about a product. Like, they were making more than like doctors and surgeons. Like, one deal could be like upwards $100,000 just to like talk about these products. So marketing and promotion is huge, and they use people's likeness and like, people that have a following that trust them to start promoting products that maybe isn't going to work the same for everyone, or maybe it doesn't even do what you say it does, what you claim it does. Yet there are people that will go out and will buy it, will sell this product out because they believe what these people are telling them. They believe the marketing, they fall for it. They fall for the promotion tactics. And again, when you're not being straightforward, when you're not being honest, which is what marketing and promotion is all about, right? It's not really about being forward and being honest. It's about like tricking people, essentially.
I used to work in marketing for 11 years, and now I work in skincare. So these are all the ways that skincare marketing tries to trick you into buying stuff. L'Oreal have written laser on this retinol night serum, even though laser has nothing to do with retinol. You'll see they've also written filler on the hyaluronic acid and clinical on their vitamin C. None of these words have any direct relevance to the products, and some are downright misleading, laser and filler. A group of people have sat around a table and decided on each word to put on each individual new product that will evoke a specific emotional response in you. Any variation on dermatologist recommended or developed with dermatologists. Brands love to write this on things, but really all products need to be tested to make sure they're safe before people use them. Anything that says lift is a very popular one, but unfortunately nothing you apply topically to a skin can actually lift it. You're going to need a facelift for that. If you like no bullshit skincare tips, then you have found the right place.
This doesn't allow consent. People don't know the truth about the product. They think you're telling them the truth, and that is not the truth. You're just telling them what you want them to hear so that they can give you their money. And then these companies, they get praised, they get rewarded and applauded for being so successful, right? Meanwhile, they're doing it off of rape culture, off of like manufacturing a dependence on something. They're confusing people. They're not being honest and straightforward. They're not considering their customer, which is not cooperative. Another one I've seen that is scary are AI ads. Oh my gosh, have you guys seen these? So now it's like double the fraud, because now they're taking the likeness of well-known faces of well-known people. It looks so real. It looks like they're actually speaking, like they're actually promoting something. But now they're not even getting the consent of the actual person. Now they're just using their image, using their likeness, probably without permission, to promote something. Like, the point is they're trying to trick people. They're trying to trick that it's real. They're trying to say, look at this celebrity. The celebrity is promoting this product. That means it's good. You should get on this. If you're trying to, for example, lose weight, or you're trying to get rid of those wrinkles, or whatever the hell it is, right? But yeah, it's so scary how real they look. And again, it's misleading. It's a lie. It's a downright lie. We don't have the full truth. Like, we don't have the full intention, you know? We don't know the associations that are happening behind the scenes. The decision we made becomes void because we didn't have the full truth. So therefore, when you don't have the full truth, it doesn't allow consent to happen. This is like less of a micro way. This is more of a big deal, but like baby trapping. I wrote baby trapping in here. I guess I wrote this because I know it's like a thing right now. There's a culture of having baby mamas, baby daddies, and like thinking that that's a win, you know, because I don't know, I guess when you baby trap someone, you're trying to secure a bag or something, or you're trying to keep that person like tied down to you. So I feel like men and women can do this. There are ways it can be done on both sides. And again, it's like, that's a really, really bad one, because especially when it comes to bringing life into the world, yeah, both people should be on board with that. And that's a forever thing. So that's like unforgivable, in my opinion, when you bring a life into the world without consent from the other person. We see that a lot as well, right? When you're like manufacturing something to get your own selfish need met. Again, it's like it's preying on something, and it's completely not considering the other person in this relationship. And this is important because spirit is very concerned with consent. You know, that's why we have free will. Spirit knows what's up, but they're not going to force anybody to do anything. We need to choose it. Spirit allows us our choice. Spirit says it's your choice, it's your decision, it's your life, it's your energy. Like, you either choose it or you don't. And when we're talking about God and divinity and truth and spirituality, this all falls under the umbrella of divine feminine energy. So when we are knocking this energy down and not regarding it as important, we're also knocking those things down as well. And I think the reason why society and our culture, the culture that we live in, deems these things as unworthy and as not necessary is because they think it's like weak or something to have emotions, to be sensitive, to care, to have a heart, you know? It's become the social norm for these feminine principles not to be valued, and for people to instead like value cruelty and like bullying and like being combative, you know? People think it's funny, people think it's entertaining. Where is the love in that? Why is it that people are drawn in by aggressive behavior and that they consider these things to be strong? It's not strong. What's missing here is heart energy, is love, is unity, divine feminine energy. We have to learn how to treat divine feminine energy with importance. We have to allow it to be seen, to embrace it, to let it rise up, to let it take space, to not prey on it like it's a weakness and judge it and minimize it. We have to know that divine feminine energy doesn't mean these things. It doesn't mean being weak. It doesn't mean being a doormat. And viewing it in that way is a crime. It's also why, you know, a lot of men feel like they can't be in touch with their emotions, you know, why they feel like they'll be judged or something, like they're not strong or they're not a man if they're like sensitive and they're like insecure about being vulnerable. This is why, you know, because this energy gets so mistreated. So that's an example of how this energy can affect all people, not necessarily just women. So something that I found interesting that I wanted to mention here today is this idea of Ahriman. Ahriman is believed to be a living spiritual entity that works to keep humans materialistic and uninspired. And there's a man by the name of Rudolf Steiner. He's actually incredible. He made like all of these very accurate predictions like 100+ years ago. You guys should definitely check out his stuff. And he talks a lot about this Ahriman, demonic spiritual entity. And he said that this entity was going to be born in the Western world. It was going to incarnate in the Western world. And again, that it was going to keep humans materialistic and uninspired. He believed that Ahriman would offer humans riches, luxury, and comfort in exchange for their submission. He believed that Ahriman would use cunning to deceive humans into believing his miracles. And he believed that this entity would encourage materialism, nationalism, and literalism. This smells like toxic masculinity. I know a lot of people hate that word because they think it's like an attack on men. It's not only men, okay? Masculine energy and feminine energy exists within everyone, okay? It's not only men. Women can have toxic masculine energy as well. I think this is the evil, and we have to start calling this like it is. We have to start clocking this, okay? Because it can't keep getting away with it anymore. And we live in this diseased world, in this diseased culture where it's become a social norm to be this way, to have this energy, and it's considered strong. It's what's rewarded, it's what's applauded. And it's wrong. We have to stop suffering fools lightly and call it how it is. It's evil, it's demonic. And I feel like so many people are possessed by it, which is why this is the way our world is. This is the way that the culture is, the social norm. It's because people have this Ahriman inside of them. It says that it is believed it would incarnate in the Western world. And I think it has in all of us that, are disconnected and that have these diseased ideas and beliefs that I'm talking about, in these videos. Which is why Steiner, he talked about this, because his goal was to help humans develop a conscious spiritual life, because that is how you counter it. This is how you fight it, is by connecting to your heart, by connecting to the truth, purpose, by connecting to God, by being kind and loving and caring and considerate, all of these things, by uplifting the divine feminine energy, by embodying it. It says here, he wanted to remind humans of their true center. So yeah, I just wanted to include that really quick because I definitely see a connection. In one of my other videos I mentioned, that was like, I think that the problem is masculine energy, like toxic masculine energy. I really do think so, because it's a weakness. It becomes a weakness. It's so funny that people think it's a strength. It's a weakness. And this is how this evil energy can come through us. It's how it can attach and work through us. But if you know the truth, if you find the strength, then you won't let yourself get possessed by this. And when you see bad behavior, you'll call it out. And first in yourself, first and foremost, of course, you'll change yourself. You'll see all of the little micro ways that you could be working against the divine feminine energy, even if you didn't know that you were. But essentially that's what you're doing. You're making yourself an enemy. So when you can get right with yourself and change, do what it is that you have to do, most likely, you have to do deep healing work. You have to commit to that process, to that journey. You have to integrate things. You have to alchemize, allow things to transmute so that you can change. And while you're doing that, while you're working on that, you call it out. If you see something shady, if you see good people getting attacked, getting belittled, getting downtrodden, inconsidered, disrespected, you stand up for it. You protect it. You protect this energy, because unfortunately we live in a world where it needs this protection. It's important, it's vital, it's essential. Okay guys, so that's what I have for you today. Let me know, what are your thoughts? What do you think? Do you have any other ways that, this rape culture, which boils down to consent, do you have any ideas, or have you noticed any ways that these things affect us? I'd love to hear your feedback. Let's talk. Thank you so much for being here with me today, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take good care of yourselves. Bye.